Hey, let me ask you a question. Have you ever inherited a house in Florida, but you live in another state and thought, there's no way I can deal with this from here? Because now you're grieving, you're handling probate, you've got family dynamics, and on top of that, you're responsible for a house that's 800 miles away. Maybe it's in Jacksonville, maybe St. Augustine, maybe somewhere you haven't even been in years. And now you're wondering, do I have to move to Florida to sell this house? Do I need to fly down there constantly? Is this even possible from out of state? Because here's what most people assume. If I inherited property in Florida, I have to be physically in Florida to handle it. And thankfully, that's not true. But here's what is true. Florida law still governs the property. So even if you live in Georgia or New York or California, you can't probate Florida real estate in your home state. The probate case must be opened in the Florida county where the property is located. That's because Florida courts have jurisdiction over Florida-based assets, especially real estate, regardless of where the heirs live. So the next logical question becomes, if I have to open probate in Florida, do I have to be there to do it? And this is where people get some relief. No, you usually do not. In most cases, out-of-state heirs can handle Florida probate remotely by working with a Florida-based attorney who manages filings locally on your behalf, which means you don't have to take weeks off work, you don't have to relocate temporarily, and you don't have to turn probate into a travel itinerary. Now here's the next part most people don't realize. Even if you're out of state, once a personal representative is officially appointed by the Florida court and receives what are called the letters of administration, that representative now has the legal authority to act on behalf of the estate, including listing and selling the property if needed. So yes, you can absolutely sell an inherited house in Florida while living somewhere else, but you usually can't sell it until probate gives you the authority to do so. Because title companies will typically require proof of ownership, meaning the estate must legally transfer authority to you before a sale can close. Otherwise, the title is still technically in your loved one's name. So once probate is opened, here's generally what happens. The court appoints a personal representative. Assets are identified and valued, debts and claims are handled, and then the representative may transfer title to heirs or sell the property on behalf of the estate. All of that can be coordinated from out of state with the help of a Florida probate attorney, a local real estate agent, and a title company familiar with estate sales, which means inspections, listing paperwork, closing documents can all be signed remotely in most cases. Now let me ask you this. What if your loved one lived in another state but owned property here in Florida? And well, that's where something called ancillary probate may come into play. This is essentially a secondary probate process required to legally transfer or sell Florida real estate when the primary probate is happening elsewhere. Again, it sounds intimidating, but it can often still be handled remotely through professionals here in Florida. So let's bring this all together. If you inherit a house in Florida, but you live out of state, you don't have to move here. You don't have to manage everything in person. And yes, you can still sell the property. But probate must still happen in Florida. Authority must be granted by the court, and the title must be cleared before closing. Once that is done, listing, negotiating, and even closing can often happen without you ever stepping foot on a plane. Which, let's be honest, if you can handle probate without an airport layover, that's already a win. At the end of the day, inheriting a home is emotional enough. Navigating it from another state shouldn't make it harder than it has to be. If you're dealing with an inherited property here in Florida and you're not sure what your next step is, even from out of state, I'm always happy to be a resource and help you understand what your options look like. Because sometimes the hardest part is just knowing where to start.